I will now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Texas Southmost College District. Trustees present, Ms. Delia Sáenz, Dr. Norma Lopez Harris, Dr. Tony Zabaleta, Ms. Alejandra Aldrete, Mr. Edward Camarillo, Mr. Edgar Garcia, myself, and our president, Jesus Roberto Rodriguez. And I'll call on Dr. Zabaleta for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Public comment? Thank you, ma'am. Oh, I must report. I'm going to read this. I would like to begin my report for our TSC Foundation meet and greet, which took place January the 30th. It was a wonderful event. I expected a lot more people, and I think we've got work to do. But it went well. New community members came. It was well attended by the staff that also share in the giving to the Texas Foundation. We shared a video that everybody was impressed with. The foundation does such a good job of giving scholarships. And for those that are not involved with the foundation, it's, we know we give scholarships, but to hear the stories of the students that benefit from the $1,000, and I said this the other day, for us, $1,000 might not be a lot, but for a student, $1,000 could be a whole semester of non-working and dedicated to their own studies. So very proud of the foundation. It went well. Thank you, Julie Villalon and Dr. Stella Garcia putting this together. It was a good event, and it went well. I thank Dr. Lopez Harris for attending from the foundation, and who else came? Mr. Bustos, Maru de la Paz, Roel Rodriguez, and Dr. Gustavo Stern, which brought new people into the foundation. It was very good.
And I was present by Zoom.
On the meet and greet?
Foundation
Oh,
meeting. Oh, you're talking about something else?
the meet and greet.
Excuse me.
You were out of town having fun. And we're envious. We visited DC last week, and the weather was dreadful. But it was a lot of fun. We went to a conference, but also the president, Mr. Camarillo, and I vented the weather. We went out, we visited with our congressman, Vicente Gonzalez, who's always very, very kind and offered to help, and we're gonna take him up on it. My president is shameless, everywhere he goes. We talked about maybe asking the senator, the congressman for maybe 300, 400,000 maybe. And when we got there, it turned into 2 million. So we're gonna pursue the 2 million. So he said it was promising, and we felt good about it. We also met with Senator Cruz, which he always sees us, and I'm very thankful to Cassie Garcia that always makes it happen. And Mr. Camarillo, the president, and I sat around his office for almost an hour, and no one else did. He canceled everybody else, and it was a good feeling. We also met with Senator Cornyn, and he was very receptive to what we had to say. I come in and I say hello, and then I pitch it to the president, and because he is the shameless one, right? But it went really well, besides being very, very cold and very, very wet. That day that we went out, I think our day started at 7 with the Texas delegation breakfast, and we ended up about 10 o'clock back at the room. So it was tiring, but it was well worth it. It was very productive. The president and I attended the Port Isabel ribbon cutting for their CTE program building, and it is really nice to show up, because nobody else did from the other colleges that are present there as well, but we did, and they were very thankful. They have an amazing, amazing building for Celia Galindo that's doing the cooking, the culinary school. So it went really well. They were very thankful, and they want to do more things with us, which is very exciting. And I think that's all I have to report, Mr. President. Your turn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, trustees. And yes, the meeting to DC was very productive. You know, all grandpappy used to say the best way to miss is to not shoot. So there's no shame in asking, right? I grew up with hand-me-downs, so hey, keep asking. And we're in the game. We play the probability games, and that's what we do, and that's part of our job. We're well received, well represented with Madam Chair, with our contact. Mr. Camarillo did a wonderful job as well, explaining the services that we provide to our community. And to have a federal senator sit with us for about an hour says a lot. And so I know Senator Cruz really wanted to help us out, as well as our congressman, Vicente Gonzalez. And you know, we're going to do our best. We're surrounded by great colleagues that help us do the research and put applications together to pursue. So thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, for attending. Well, let me start by highlighting our very popular Living History Day held during the first weekend in February. This year's event featured about 20 historical reenactors. They represented various periods of the U.S. history, such as Civil War, World War I, World War II, as well as historical periods around the world in Europe and Asia. I want to thank the History Department and the Student Services Division for collaborating on the event, as well as Dr. Prissy Tipton for supporting the attendance of 600 middle and high school students throughout the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant. And thank you to Chair Garza for attending the event. Our hardworking recruitment staff has been hosting a number of campus tours for high school students. We love to bring students and families here to experience our beautiful and historic campus and get a taste of the welcoming environment we have created. So far this semester, we have welcomed students from Jubilee Academy, Porter High School, and IDEA Riverview. I want to extend my thanks to Ms. Vanessa Vasquez and her team for their continued efforts to showcase TSC to our communities. Now, February is the financial aid month, and our student services team has taken their expertise on the road to assist families in completing their free financial aid application, which is better known as their FAFSA application. Over the past few weeks, they have held financial aid nights at Harlingen Consolidated ISD, Los Fresnos CISD, San Benito ISD. We thank the student services staff for this important work, assisting families in affording a college education. Now, our student services team members were not the only ones out in local school this month. We had a number of our trustees and staff serving as principal for a day in the Brownsville Independent School District. Vice Chair Sines was at Britton Elementary. Trustee Camarillo was at Vela Middle School. Dr. Prissy Tipton was at Vistados Middle School. And Trustee Garcia was at Benavides Elementary. I extend my thanks to each and every one of you for continuing to strengthen our ties in the community. Now, we also held our annual faculty art exhibit on February 12th at the iTech Art Gallery with 200 people attending an opening night. The exhibit features the work of 8 faculty, showcasing the creativity, expertise, and diverse artistic practices of our instructional staff. The event also promoted activity engagement in the arts, enriching the educational experience for students as well as the broader community. I want to thank all our faculty who share their personal work and who nurture our students' talent throughout the year. And a special thank you also to our Vice Chair Sines and Secretary Lopez Harris for supporting our faculty during the event. Now, since we last met, the Student Services Division has hosted a number of events designed to engage our students to maintain our retention, which includes the Scorpion Spring Bash, the Scorpion Club Fair, the Student Faculty Social, the intramurals in basketball and indoor soccer, kickoff events for the Student Government Association, our Campus Activities Board, and Scorpion Leadership Academy, as well as Valentine's Day Karaoke. And I want to thank Dr. David Plummer for his leadership in kind of re-engaging our student life activities. And now it is time for this month's video highlighting the activities that have occurred since we last met, which is in November. Remember the little incident we had, so the video is going to be a little bit longer today. That was going to capture it. So can you please start the video?
I look forward to seeing each one of you. I look forward to your stories. I look forward to what's going on in your life. And it never gets old.
It's happening here within your community college. We're bigger than the universities. We're bigger than the state technical colleges. We are a force to be reckoned with. In closing, and on behalf of the Scorpion community, we greatly appreciate the strong leadership and support from the Board of Trustees as you help us set course in serving our community. So thank you, Board. This concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6, consideration and possible action to approve resolution of support for the continued investment in the dynamic community college funding model. Mr. Perez?
Yes, would you like me to read the resolution?
Yes, please.
Yes. Resolution of support for continued investment in the dynamic community college funding model. Whereas the state of Texas has demonstrated its commitment to student success and workforce development through the implementation of the outcomes-based funding model established by House Bill 8 during the 88th legislature. Whereas this funding model represents a transformative approach to empowering community colleges to deliver measurable results in alignment with state workforce and educational goals. Okay, thank you. Whereas the funding model prioritizes student outcomes, including the attainment of credentials of value, dual credit opportunities, successful transfer to a 4-year university, and support for economically disadvantaged students and adult learners. Whereas continued investment in this dynamic funding model will ensure Texas community colleges remain equipped to provide affordable, high-quality education that drives economic growth and mobility. Whereas Texas community colleges have requested support for formula funding recommendations made by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board for the fiscal year 2026-2027 biennium, alongside of a supplemental appropriations request for the current biennium to sustain progress and innovation. Whereas amendments to the state funding performance tier to include students transferring to private or independent institutions in Texas will strengthen student success pathways and acknowledge the key role these institutions play in the state's higher education and workforce development ecosystem. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of Texas Southmost College officially declares its support for 1, continued investment in the outcomes-based funding model established by House Bill 8. 2, full funding for the supplemental appropriations request for the fiscal year 2024-2025 biennium. 3, formula funding recommendations for the fiscal year 2026-2027 biennium as proposed by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. 4, amendments to the performance tier to include students who transfer to private or independent institutions of higher education in Texas. Be it further resolved that the resolution be included in the permanent minutes of this board, adopt this 20th day of February 2025 by the Board of Trustees of Texas Southmost College, signature for Adela G. Garza, Board Chair for the Board of Trustees, and signature line for Dr. Norma Lopez Harris, Secretary, Board of Trustees. Thank you.
And for the record, the Texas Association of Community College Trustees put this resolution together, sending it out to all the trustees within the 50 community college membership of the state to see if we support this, and that's what I share with our Madam Chair.
I didn't think it would hurt, and we joined the association in supporting this. I think it looks good on us as well. We're a team, and they fight just like we do for all community colleges.
A lot of this is similar to the acts at the federal level to support, so kind of they will correlate together.
Thank you. We need a vote, right?
Move to approve?
Wait a minute, I got a motion. I move to approve the resolution of support for continued investment in the dynamic community college funding model. And yet, second? Okay. Second by, I have a motion and a second by Mr. Camarillo. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Number 7, consideration and possible action on approval of minutes of the following meetings. Let's take, we only have one meeting. Take a motion to approve the meetings of January 23rd, 2025. Motion by Ms. Science,
Second.
second by Ms. Aldrete. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Finance Committee, Ms. Science.
The Finance Committee met on Thursday, February 13, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, Secretary Lopez Harris, President Rodriguez, myself, and members of the TSC administration and college legal counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 8A, Annual Financial Report and Audit for Texas Southmost College District for fiscal year ending August 31st, 2024. I call on Dr. Gisela Figueroa and Mr. Carlos Pecero.
Thank you, Ms. Science. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. Before you, this item is the presentation of our annual financial audit report for fiscal year ending August 31st, 2024. We have Mr. Alfred Vera from Cascos and Associate, and he will doing the presentation of the audit. Mr. Pecero right now is distributing the audit report. One thing I want to note is one thing we always request from Mr. Vera and Cascos and Associates is that each year they send us a different lead auditor to look at our financials and our books. So it's a fresh pair of eyes. The one doing the reviewing, they've been doing that year after year. So it's never the same auditor, lead auditor that came the previous year to do the audit. So I will leave it to Mr. Vera to do the presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Alfred Vera. I'm with Cascos and Associates. I am the managing CPA there, and I am also the audit manager. And as Dr. Figueroa mentioned, I will be presenting to you the annual financial report for the year ended August 31st, 2024. I'm going to go through the report and just speak on a couple of points, and if you all have any questions, I will be available to answer them. If you'll turn with me to page 1, page 1 contains the independent auditor's report. For those of you that may not be familiar, as independent auditors, we come into an entity, we review the policies and procedures, and then we select samples from all the transactions that occurred throughout the year, and then we test those. And based on what we see from the samples that we select and the policies and procedures, we form an opinion, and that is what is presented here. Now, the opinion states that the financials are fairly stated, and we provide reasonable assurance that they are free of material misstatements. We do not provide absolute assurance because we do not test 100% of the transactions, because there's always some possibility of something being in there. But based on what we have reviewed and what we have tested, our opinion is an unmodified or a clean opinion. That is the highest opinion that an entity can receive, so congratulations on earning that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our team, because
Yes.
they do an amazing job.
Correct. And that is a result of the work that is done by them and by you all as a board as well. So congratulations on that. If you'll turn over to page 4, page 4 contains the management's discussion and analysis. The management discussion and analysis, otherwise known as the MD&A, contains some comparative data to the prior year, to 2023, some financial analysis, and some more information regarding capital assets. Now, if you'll turn with me to page 15, on page 15, you will find Exhibit 1, which is the statement of net position. In other entities, this is known as the balance sheet. At August 31st, 2024, Texas Southmost College District had total assets of $226 million, total liabilities of $51 million, and a total net position of $167 million. Of that total net position, $4,894,000 is unrestricted. This is what we refer to as the rainy day fund. The college would be able to use that for anything that it wishes. We recommend that it's for one-shot items, maybe repairs, capital equipment, construction, things like that. But we do not recommend that you use it for continuing operations such as payroll because it will be depleted. And I'll touch on this number shortly when I go over the days of operation. On the next page is Exhibit 2. This is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. For the year ended August 31st, 2024, Texas Southmost College District had total operating revenues of $13,921,000, total operating expenses of $68,679,000, and total non-operating revenues of $64,239,000, which resulted in an increase in that position of $9.5 million. Now, if you take your total operating expenses of the $68,679,000 and we divide that by 365, you get $188,000 per day. That is what, on average, it costs to open the doors of the college each and every day. Now, if we take your unrestricted net position and we divide it by that 188,000, you get 217 days of operations. That means that if no more money were to come in to the college, it would be able to operate by about 217 days. This is an increase from last year of 195 days. So that is very good. We normally recommend between 60 to 90, but having more than that is very good. So congratulations on increasing that.
Mr. Herrera would be really, really happy right now.
And if you'll turn with me to page 68. Page 68 contains the independent auditor's report on internal controls over financial reporting and compliance and other matters of an audit with government auditing standards. From what we have reviewed and we had tested as well, there was no findings or issues with that, so congratulations. And then 2 pages over on page 70 is the independent auditor's report on compliance for each major federal and state program. Again, Texas Southmost College has earned an unmodified opinion based on what we have tested for your major grants for the federal and state level. So congratulations on that as well. This concludes my presentation. If you all have any questions.
Short and sweet.
Good job.
Thank you for all the work that you do, and we hope to continue working with you.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
think that it's done well to change the auditors every time,
Yes, ma'am.
because you all keep doing a good job.
Thank you.
And giving us our value for our money, right?
That's what we intend to do, ma'am. And that's what Mr. Cuscos would have wanted us to continue to do. So thank you all very much for
Yes.
your support and for the hard work that you all do here. Thank
How
you.
long has it been since he passed?
It's been about 6 months, 7 months, yes.
Yeah, he's missed.
But he would be very happy and very proud.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Next item, consideration and possible action on adoption of a bank resolution for signature card authorization. I call on Dr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, before you, for your consideration and possible action, you have a bank resolution for signature card authorization. This, the change reflected in here, it removes me from the signature card, adding Mr. Pacero, which will be the acting interim CFO starting in the month of March.
I move to adopt a resolution for signature card authorization.
Motion by Ms. Sines,
Second.
second by Dr. Harris. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Item 8C, monthly financial statement report for the months ended October 21st, 2024, November 30th, 2024, and December 31st, 2024. I call on Dr. Figueroa and Mr. Pecero to present this item.
Thank you, Ms. Science. Before you have an unusual financial statement, because we're compiling 3 months into one due to the challenges we had in December. But with your permission, I'll have Mr. Pecero present that report.
Thank you, Dr. Figueroa. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, we have the monthly financial statement report in a similar format where the activity is along the left-hand column, and we have 3 months of actuals that I'll cover, and that's where I'll mainly concentrate my presentation on. So there's 3 fund types that we adopt a budget for. And I'll begin with the first of the 3, which is the Education and General Fund. On this slide, we have revenue. So for the month of October, we have 26 million. In November, 6.9 million, and December, 4.1 million. Moving on to the expenditure category, we have 2 subtotals. Salaries and wages, 2 million in October, 1.9 million November, and 1.9 million for December. We also have a subtotal for benefits, $500,000 in October, another half in November, and about another half in December. The following slide has the M&O category, and that starts here, and it concludes on the following slide. We have 3 subtotals for you here, 1.2 million for October, about $1 million for November, and 851,000 for December. On this slide, we're still on general fund. We have a subtotal for travel, 15,000 for October, 27, almost 28 for November, and about 8,000 for December. At the bottom of this slide, we have the general institutional category, 167,000 for October, 131 for November, and about 60,000 for December. This is the last slide for the general fund, and I'll highlight the total expenditures for the months of October, 4 million, almost 4 million November, and about 3.4 for December. So that's revenue and expenditures for the general fund. We have a recap of the budget amendments here with some activity in October, 1.3 million. Now moving on to the auxiliary fund, which is the second of the 3 funds. We have revenue subtotals, 73,000 for October, 200,000 November, and almost 200 for December. Now moving on to the expenditures, we have 2 subtotals, salaries and benefits, 58,000, 51, and about 51, and then benefits for those same 3 months, 12,000, just about. The M&L category is on this slide, and it concludes on the following. October, November, December, we have 52, 29, and 26. This is the last slide for the auxiliary fund, so I'll highlight the total expenditures, 130,000, 326,000, 90,000 for December. So that's revenue and expenditures for the auxiliary fund. The last of the 3 funds are general obligation and revenue bond funds. On this slide, we subtotal revenue, which is 1.8 million, about 1.6, and almost $500,000 for December. No expenditures yet, but we do expect to see expenditures in the month of February, which is when our debt service payments are due. So that's revenue and expenditures for all 3 fund types. On this slide, we have a recap of the detail for our benefit expenditure. 649,000 is just a snapshot from the month of November for the general fund, and almost 17,000 for the auxiliary fund. The following slides have our detail for the debt service tables. So there's been no change since the last time we presented these. And with that, I'll conclude my report. If there's any questions, I'd like to try and answer them.
This item is for information only. No action is required.
Thank you.
That concludes my, hold on, no ma'am. 8D. Annual Investment Report for fiscal year ended August 31st, 2024. I call on Dr. Figueroa and Mr. Pecero to present.
Thank you, Ms. Science. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. Before you have the annual investment report for fiscal year ending August 31st, 2024. This accompanies our AFR every year. We do present to you all the detail every quarter, but this basically is the summary of the whole year, and it's in the format that is required by the Public Fund Investment Act. Mr. Pesaro will present that for you.
Thank you, Dr. Figueroa. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. As Dr. Figueroa mentioned, this format of the report is unique. Very limited info on it, where there's 4 to 5 numbers on here, with the first of those numbers being populated here up at the top, 286,000. That's the market or equity funds that we have. And then the remainder of the data for this report is highlighted down here, with the 6.1 million being our tax pool number, the 69 million being the certificates of deposit, and the 14 million being what's carried at our local banking institution, our demand accounts. So the total of 91 million, that equals the fourth quarter report, which we covered in detail during the year. If there's any questions, I'd like to try and answer those.
Questions?
Thank you.
One more item. 8E, financial review of CAK local appropriations and revenue sources investments. I call on Mr. Frank Perez to present.
Yes, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Rodriguez. Government Code 2256.005 requires that the governing body review its investment policy not less than annually. CAK Local was last revised on January 22nd, 2025. That was at last month's meeting, and it was last reviewed in February 21, 2024. The attached policy as presented in your packet does not have any changes or recommendations or additions to add, so we're looking for a motion to acknowledge the annual review of CAK local appropriations and revenue sources investments.
I move to acknowledge the annual review of CAK local appropriations and revenue sources investments.
I have a motion, Ms. Science.
The second.
Why isn't this in the policy committee? Why was it brought into the financial?
Because it's investments.
It's CAK. It's a policy.
It is
is
a
a
CAK policy. I don't recall how it was presented last year.
It usually is presented under policies.
Did we do that before? I don't-
Yeah, no, usually like anything with policy, like, it's presented in the policy committee.
Madam Chair, last month, we actually brought this to, you reviewed it in the policy. So last month, we made a minor adjustment to it. Today, the only thing we're doing is we're required to bring it back to you as a review of the policy, not to adopt it as such.
So you said that we reviewed it in the committee?
Yes.
It was not brought to the board. So now, so it was reviewed in the policy committee, but it was brought into the financial committee.
I do know that I looked at it. I looked at last year's minutes of February 21st,
Dr. Figueroa,
2024.
you have the answer, I know. Tell us.
Ma'am, last month in January, it came to the policy committee, and there was a minor change, as Mr. Perez mentioned, so it did go through the policy committee. This time, it's just an acknowledgement for the finance, that's why it was put on the finance. It has no changes. It was reviewed by the policy committee last month and approved by the board during the January board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Against? Motion carries. I want to thank Dr. Figueroa. Dr. Figueroa? I want to thank you. I know I speak for the board. We have fought some battles together. We're going to miss you. And thank you for your time. Thank you for caring for TSC like we do. And I hope that you get satisfaction where you're going. You'll never have another board like this one. Let me just say that, but you will be missed. and we
Thank
wish
you,
you
ma'am. I
well.
really appreciate it. It was a tough decision to make. But thank you for the opportunity. It's been 6.5 years working with TSC. It's an amazing opportunity to be able to be the CFO in your hometown and knowing your community. So I thank you for that opportunity, to work with each one of you, and hopefully make a little bit better the college and leaving it a little bit better than when I came into my position.
I used to call Dr. Figueroa my hero because many battles were fought here in these chairs, and she just took it. And I say, don't take it personal, just take it. And she just took it and got better and better. And it was good. It was good. We all grew from what happened with the pressures that we had when the president came in. And I think you did an excellent job, and you're still my hero.
Thank you, ma'am.
This concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Number 9 is academics. Dr. Zavaleta?
Ma'am. Number 9, the academic committee met on Thursday, February 13th. Present were myself, Chair Garza, Trustee Aldrete, President Rodriguez, and other members of the administration. 9A, consideration and possible action on approval of an annual lease for fully equipped patrol cars. Can I call upon,
Dr. Zavaleta?
yes, sir, Mr. McKee?
Thank you.
Please.
Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rodriguez. Joining me up is Angelica Fuentes.
Hello.
And I'd like to recognize her for her efforts in increasing the Police Academy Cadet Class to 40 this month. So what we're seeking approval for 2 fully equipped police patrol vehicles. It's going to be an annual lease agreement with the American National Leasing Company. The vehicles are 2025 Ford Police Interceptors. They're all-wheel vehicles. The vehicles will be used to drive a portion of the basic police officer course and also be used during the practical application exercise. And I have some slides up here. So this is a purchase. This purchase is in accordance with the authorized purchasing methods as defined by the Texas Southmost College Board Policy Manual for Purchasing Acquisition Procedures. In addition, this is a recommendation is also in compliance with the policy requirements for presenting and obtaining approval from the TSC Board for contracting, purchasing valued at $50,000 or more. That is the vehicle.
I think we said the board might approve if we all got a ride in it.
You know, I think
At the
that
full speed, to get the whole experience approved.
With the sirens.
Yeah, exactly.
you'll have to go with us to the county airport and to actually see how it's done. And yes, you'll get the full court of it. These expenses are coming from the Perkins Grant approved budget for fiscal 24-25 and the 2 subsequent years. The proposal is to approve the agreement for 2 fully equipped patrol vehicles, the annual lease with the American National Leasing Company through the TIPS contract in the amount of $41,000 annually for 3 years, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the agreement as presented. Questions?
Any questions?
I need a motion and a second first.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Make a motion.
Okay, so I move to approve the lease agreement for 2 fully equipped patrol vehicles with American National Leasing Company through TIPS contract in the amount of $41,801 annually for 3 years, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the agreement as presented.
I second.
Motion by Dr. Zavaleta, second by Ms. Aldrete. Okay, discussion. Ms. Simon.
Yes, ma'am.
As we spoke earlier, Mr. Mesquias, The purchase of one vehicle is 55,355.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the future, because I know that this is a 3-year lease agreement, could we possibly look at purchasing our cars?
I just found out with Dr. Figueroa that at the end of the 3-year lease, we'll get to purchase a vehicle for $1
Woo-hoo!
per vehicle.
Good.
And so that's going to work out.
Will
So
they be worth anything when we get done with them? We're gonna.
When I get done with them, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, no, well, that's a good response.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's it.
Any more questions?
Madam Chair, one question.
Yes, sir.
As part of the lease, is the insurance covered, or is that something that TSC is going to have to put it?
That's
in
something that
insurance?
we have to cover.
Okay.
We have to cover that and the maintenance costs. And the maintenance costs, we figured it out to be, and this is based on the previous vehicle we have already, it's $2,105 per vehicle per year. That's the sticker, changing the oil, and gas.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second, yes. Ms. Aldrete?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item 9B, consideration and possible action on approval of an affiliation agreement with Neighbors in Need of Services, also known as NINOS, for Child Care and Development Program.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and President Rodriguez. For your consideration and possible action, I bring before you a memorandum of understanding between Texas Southlands College and Neighbors in Need of Services, also known as NINOS. This memorandum will allow NINOS employees that are students of the Child Care Development Program to complete their laboratory hours at the NINOS facility for the following courses: CDEC 1200, CDEC 2380, and CDEC 2487. While it's preferable for our students to utilize our own facility, we do understand the difficulty imposed by full-time employment and school attendance. This agreement will allow students to continue to support themselves and their families while completing their education at Texas Southlands College. This agreement stipulates that NINOS will be consistent with our standards of our facilities, allow visitations and inspections from college faculty and staff, and maintain our standards regarding the same external learning experience. This agreement in no way supplants the necessity of Texas Southlands College students for attending our facilities, but does provide some flexibility for our students that are working as full-time employees at NINOS. I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Ms. Aldrete? Okay, I move to approve the affiliation agreement with NINOS for students enrolled in the Child Care and Development Program, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the agreement as presented.
I second.
A motion by Dr. Zabaleta, second by Ms. Aldrete. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
That concludes item number 9.
Thank you, Dr. Zabaleta. Facilities Committee.
The Facilities Committee met on Thursday, February 13, 2025. President were Chair Garza, Trustee Garcia, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC administration, and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 10A, consideration and possible action on approval of iTech campus main fire line repairs proposal. Dr. Garcia?
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo. Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. Before I turn it over to Ronnie, I just want to preface on this one because it came up in committee. In the presentation, it's actually, there's some pre-information on the ARF, the agenda request form. There was an RFP issued for this back in September, closed in October with no respondents. So what you'll see is the follow-up to that on the getting from the co-ops. So with your permission, I'll ask Mr. Robles to present this item.
Madam Chair, trustees, and Dr. Rodriguez, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to update you on where we're going with this project. Basically, what you see before you is the tips requirements that we have gone through. Because of the value of it, when we had to go through the RFP project or process. And again, this is a TIPS contract that we'll be using that's a part of the co-op. Here you'll see just a map of the campus of iTech, where this project will take place. Here you'll see the fire riser room. And basically what this is because of a leak that occurred 2 years ago, basically, we're having to come back and make this repair, and that's what this is. Here you'll see in different areas of the iTech room, you'll see some piping, which is the fire riser, the pipes itself. This essentially is what's going to be replaced in this repair. Staff requested quotes and received the following. One from A1 Facility Service Center, or A1 Facility Service from San Antonio, Texas, in the amount of $164,285, and they were from TIPS. Signs and More from Brownsville in the amount of $214,000. They were $214,500 member board approved vendor. And Spa Glass Contractors from Harlingen, Texas, in the amount of $425,979. They also were a TIPS member, as well as TCPN and by board. The expense will be coming from the budget for fiscal year 24-25 to approve the iTech campus main fire line repair with A1 facility service through the TIPS contract in the amount of $164,286, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the purchase order contract as presented.
I move to approve the iTech campus main fire line repairs with A1 facility services through TIPS contract in the amount of $164,286, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the purchase order contract as presented.
Second that.
I have a motion by Mr. Camarillo.
Second.
By Mr. Garcia. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Next item, 10B, it's a facilities update. Dr. Garcia and Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. With your permission, this is a slightly longer presentation. We have a couple of videos, but we can speed through as you prompt us along. But if I ask Mr. Robles, Mr. Mascoro, and Mr. Hinojosa to help present this item.
As you see, this is an updated, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Rodriguez, President Rodriguez, thank you for this opportunity to give you this update on the information that, on what's occurring in our world that affects the campus as a whole. All right, first we'll start with the dedicated chiller plant for TSC, the Rec Center, and Child Care Center 2. All chillers have been installed and final tests have been completed. The control systems are in final testing and anticipation completion of 2/28/25. And today, I can just make a comment on that. Siemens was here along with the help from the IT department. We're able to connect where we needed to connect, and we're well on our way to completing that task. So hopefully we'll be able to talk with each one of those HVAC components that we're wired to and tell them, hey, turn off, turn on, it's supposed to be this temperature or that temperature. So it's a major milestone that we've crossed today. Chillers were tested and operated for the following: any leaks, proper temperature settings, electrical components, PSI of flow of chilled water, and then the landscaping around the irrigation systems. There's been 3 palm trees that were installed at Child Care Center and 2 at the Rec Center. Project completion again is February 28th. Board approved, it was approved by the Board of Trustees on August the 17th, 2023 at a cost of $2,575,000. Here you'll see some slides of one of the chillers being put in place, and that's at the Rec Center. Here's another video, pictures of at Child Care Center where it's being lifted off of the truck and into the location where it's going to reside. Next, we'll move on to the thermal plant, the thermal cooling plant tower installation, which is really big.
Everything is big. It's huge, everything.
But it's exciting because we're moving forward.
For
and,
you guys.
You know, we're really moving. What y'all are doing really is improving the college campus as a whole. So this is really, I get excited about this because it's awesome.
And I do too, Mr. Robles, because I've been here so long and I've seen the deterioration and the need for this. To see this happening really is exciting.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing what the board has come across and done, along with the team that's behind me, you know, pushing this forward and knowing that this is really important. And you all see the value of this, the efficiency that's going to occur. So this is really awesome.
Had to be done, and I saw it right now. It was in '23. Mr. Herrera was here. How we passed 2 million? We did a good job. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Electrical demo has been completed. Electrical wiring's in progress. It's roughly at 65%, probably a little more now. The conduit junction boxes for the VFDs are in place. They're ready to be completed with the wiring. Again, VFDs are on site, ready for that install. Construction fencing is completed as shown on drawings. Project completion on time and still continue expected to complete by December 2025. Milestones, equipment approved by Board of Trustees on August the 17th, 2023 at a cost of $959,685. Engineering services approved by Board of Trustees on June 20th, 2024. Ethos Engineering is the company at an 8.25% cost of construction. Installation contract approved by Board of Trustees on the August 29th, 2024 at a cost of $1,130,000. Here you'll see a video of the two towers that are going to be removed here shortly. It's just different scenes of the towers themselves. And you'll see on the right, the ones that are going to go in their place. Keep it running? Okay.
It was going to play longer. You can actually see it lift the cooling tower out of it. I think they're playing it now. If you want to see it, it's kind of cool.
There you can see a gentleman walk in to ensure that the guidelines are in place, as well as the cables to remove it. There you can see the red line is the truck where the water, where they'll be placed once that they're removed. There you can see it's lifted out and it's being moved to the truck itself. And you can see how high that lift is, and you compare it to the size of the building. For those of you that have been out there, y'all can visualize it's pretty tall, pretty big. And it's hidden behind the walls, so you don't realize how big that piece of equipment is until you actually see it there, ready to go. Here's the second lift. They're having to cut away at just different areas because it was falling apart as they were lifting it. And they had to put in reinforcements so that it wouldn't fall apart as they're lifting it and moving it to the truck.
I just have to say that those are brave men.
Exactly.
Working around that dangerous work area.
The good thing is that they're insured under TSC.
They're not our employees.
And you can see how it's
Yes.
deteriorating, falling apart as they're moving it.
Oh, my God.
How Mr. Mascoro kept this going for so long is beyond me.
It is. Okay. All right, we'll move on now.
So when are we gonna see the video of all the new ones?
Soon. Sooner than later. There you'll see just a top view of the both towers that were removed. It just states, 1 and 2. Here's on the left, when they were here at 6 in the morning, ready to start this process. On the left, and then on the right, you can see where they're removing a fan shroud. That's what that white object is that's being hoisted out. That's that fan shroud that's on the floor that once it's been removed. On the left, you'll see that they're placing it. On the right, you'll see that that's the unit, or one of the units that they took out. And it's sizable. I mean, that's a special trailer that had to be brought in for these lifts. It just couldn't fit on a regular 45 drop deck. Here's some pipes that you'll see that were up there that are rusted. And this is what was gonna be replaced. It's gonna be all brand new. It's really great. Here you can see, click again. Here you'll see that they're chipping away at the rust that was on that pipe that's there. That's how thin that wall is. And that's just the exterior. If you were to open the inside, it would be the same way, chipped away at more. That's an example of the leaks that we're having underground. That's kind of an example of what's underground at this point. All right, moving on to thermal plant chiller installation. These are the trucks that you saw last time. We still have the units being unloaded, and they're placed in their specific areas, just waiting for us to go ahead and get ready to put them in once we work out the logistics of the water towers and when's the right time to put them in. The equipment was approved by the Board of Trustees on August the 17th, 2023 at a cost of $1,090,234. Pending activity is funding, engineering services, and the RFP for the installation of the chillers is under review currently. All right, moving over to the pipe fitting lab. Pipe fitting lab engineers plan. The engineering plans for electrical were completed on December the 17th, 2024. Scope of work RFP for electrical work completed and is being reviewed by purchasing, which was submitted back in January. And we're moving along with that. That's not just sitting there. Half Associates Engineering estimated cost as of January the 24th, 2025 is $228,890, subject to increase due to time delays. And currently, right now, we're in a meeting that we're getting pricing increases already starting to happen. They mentioned because of tariffs, so we're expecting even higher costs for material supplies. Milestone for the pipe fitting lab, all non-electrical has been completed as of January the 7th, 2025. All but some minor painting needs to be completed, and that the painting and the pictures still hasn't been completed because that wood's still just not at the right dryness level. The board approved the budget amendment on October 17, 2024 for this project at a cost of $150,000. Plus grant funds have been applied for engineering services. And here you'll see the pictures on the left is the rough, the picture on the right is the completed. Here's the door, the rough on the left, completed on the right. Here's the door that was installed that's still lacking payment on the left, not payment, painting. The door you'll see on the inside, we still have the gate there, and that's to prevent people from entering when they're doing whatever work's possible. It allows air to come in as well in that area. Here's the interior door. You'll see on the left when it was being roughed in. On the right is the final, the middle is the final on one side, on the right side is the final of the opposite side. Moving on to a national fitness campaign court. Board of Trustees approved matching grant on May 16, 2024. It was $217,500, which supports the development of the Lands to Park program. The equipment arrived on July 2024. Ground survey completed October 2024. Concrete was poured in on December 2024. 2 quotes received for the installation. Vendor's been selected and notified to proceed with installation. And ribbon cutting still potentially March to April 2025. Yep, yeah, April more than likely, but we're gonna do everything we can to get it as soon as possible, so we're completed with this project. And here you'll see just on the left, the pictures of the different areas in that space. On the right is the location of where it's at. Here's some photo or some drawings of what it's gonna look like, but the one on the lower right truly is the one what it's gonna look like. And then the one to the left of that will have our logo on it, which is this picture here, which is what's going to be on there. Gorgas Boardroom and Conference Room. Boardroom kitchenette was demoed. All upgrades have been completed. Humidity control system has been added. Cabinetry, drop ceiling, upgrade the light fixtures. Board approved the budget amendment on October 17, 2024 for $50,000. Now we'll move on to the thermal plant hydronic system, which is the pipes that are underground. There you'll see the line of where we're having all the issues currently. And this is the same list that I presented last time, for the exception of leak number 8, which occurred on January 28th. It was between the thermal plant and child care number 1, chilling hot water lines in and around main manhole pits heading west to Oliveda, east of set B. We actually did find good pipe and didn't have time to upload a new picture of where they're going to weld so that we can get those lines up and running again. They'll start that project. They're getting the logistics finalized so that Monday potentially we'll start actually laying pipe, doing the weld, and should last about a week or so? Should last about a week before we can do our testing to make sure that the welds are good. So that we can proceed to the next break, which is down the line, so that we can finally get back to running hot and cool water through the campus. Here you'll see the digging that's occurring. That's a picture of the water coming out of the pipe. It is. And you can see the water just, I mean, he's literally sticking his hand in the hole of where that leak was, and then he'll start chipping away at the plastic on the side or the install of it so that you see that's the water that's coming out and surfacing. And we don't really know that there's a problem until you see it surfacing. So we add dye so that if it's in an area that we don't think there's a leak, but yet you see wetness and a blue hue, then it's, hey, we know there's a leak in that specific area. Here again, some other pictures of where they excavated, what they found. So that's where we're at with leaks right now.
All these leaks were waiting for you, Mr. Robles. We opened you with open arms. We helped you with open arms.
Yeah, but the good thing is we're reacting fast and we're making the repairs. And we have this project coming up that hopefully will eliminate all that. So this is a hydronic line replacement project. Board of Trustees approved contract with Half and Associates to conduct engineering services. Contract signed November 22nd, 2024. The agreement includes engineering and survey for $370,000. The engineering completed the survey or expected to complete the survey by the 28th of February. The next step, pending funding upon receipt of full engineering and survey reports, is to develop and release the RFP for installation of the new hydronic system. Proposals will be presented to the Board of Trustees for approval, and we hope that's very soon. Next is the PUB water tower demo. They informed us last month that they have plans of removing the tower. They've published their RFP. They're going to award roughly around March 10th, and then they'll give a notice to proceed 30 days once it's awarded. And it's a 100-day project, but we met with them earlier this week, and they're saying that really the bulk of the work of bringing the tower down shouldn't last more than 10 days, roughly 10 to 15, if they run into some other issues. And then just taking out the concrete pad that's there, and also taking out the drill downs that they have of the concrete that supports it. So they'll remove all that and then just leave a green space there.
They're looking at between the spring and the summer semester, or May.
And the fence, is that going to be brought down as well, removed?
The temporary fence, when we're done with our project, but they'll
But their
install.
fence,
Yeah.
the current fence that's there, is that going to be removed?
There's a fence there.
No, they said they were gonna, I think they're gonna come back and, I think they said they were gonna fence it, come back and fence it, but that's open for discussion.
I think the president mentioned at the committee, if they'd remove the fencing or allow access for students to kind of, go by there versus having it all fenced up and nobody can access that area.
They appeared open to recommendations or requests from us.
Yeah, they're being very good about that. They've been open with us in the discussion, so I don't think it should be an issue.
The one thing they did mention is, I think the Southmost Tower, when it went down, I think that's the place where they have a new drive-through for the tax assessor. So the tax assessor requested to use that property once they knew when it was coming down.
So we could request after.
What will the installation of 5 units look like? What will they look like? They're obviously not gonna be tall.
Of the towers, the cooling towers?
That's what it said up there, right there.
Oh, that's
Installation of 5 units.
that's ours.
That's our cooling towers on the top of that video that showed those coming out.
I'm gonna go back to the picture.
We'll remove that, and you'll see all the new towers that are sitting on the side, on the ground. Those would be in that place. Okay.
No, I think we put that in there because since we're doing demolition, and then the towers, they're doing demolition, we're just, that point on the presentation was to talk about, we're coordinating kind of the demolitions, because they're gonna have cranes and we have cranes, so we just need to make sure we're coordinating, the logistics, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those are the, in the thermal plant, you'll see the 1 and the 2. Well, the 3, 4, and 5 are to the left of those. And that's what will be removed, and how they were talking about just now, the logistics of having cranes in the area so that they're not bumping into each other, and they each have enough space to do what they need to do while both projects are simultaneously happening. Yeah, you can see the PUB tower there on the right side of how close it is to where our project will be happening.
That conclude?
Good?
So this item is for information only. No action is required. This concludes my report. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Camarillo. Student Services, Dr. Lopez Harris.
The Student Services Committee met on Thursday, February 13, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, Trustee Garcia, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC Administration and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following item: consideration and possible action on approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between Abilene Christian University and Texas Southmost College to provide a 10% tuition reduction to TSC employees who meet ACU's admission standards. And I will call on Dr. David Plummer and Ms. Vanessa Vasquez to present the item.
Dr. Lopez Harris, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez. Just an opportunity to partner and give our employees another opportunity to continue their education as well. I'll let Ms. Vasquez present it.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, the Memorandum of Understanding presented here outlines an agreement between Abilene Christian University and Texas Southmost College. It establishes an employee partner benefit program designated to benefit TSC employees, including full-time, part-time, faculty, staff, and adjuncts who wish to enroll at the university. The MOU provides a significant advantage for TSC employees, which consists of a 10% reduction in tuition and fees for those who meet the admission standards of Abilene Christian University. This discount applies to all online degrees and certificates offered by the university. This MOU has also been reviewed by both legal counsels, and they have designated a representative from ACU to work with us so we can partner in bringing them on campus to provide more information about this program. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you. I move to approve an MOU with Abilene Christian University and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement.
Motion by Dr. Harris,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Policies Committee.
The Policies Committee met on Thursday, February 13th, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, President Rodriguez, myself, and members of the TSC Admin, Board and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 12A, consideration and possible action on approval of the following local policies: BBD, BBF, BBG, BBH, and GDA. I call on Mr. Frank Perez.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, and President Rodriguez, you have before you 5 local policies that are up for consideration. The first is BBD local, and you'll see on page 1 of 2 of that particular local policy, it has an annual training plan in the middle, and that's the only change made to that particular local policy. BBF, board members' ethics. It's a rewritten policy that takes into consideration new references to the Association of Community College Trustees Guide to Ethical Governance. It contains a lot of your old policies regarding ethics, but they're rewritten. You have BBG, local or board members' compensation and expenses. It just clarifies that when you submit your reimbursement for expenses, you submit a voucher instead of a statement, okay? The administration will have a form for you. BBH, conventions, conferences, and workshops. It allows the board to attend various state, regional, and national conventions, conferences, and workshops, and reimbursements are allowed there too. GDA local, there's a very minor change. You have a general prohibition against alcohol on the premises of TSC. However, there are exceptions that the board or the president can make for various events. And one of the restrictions on the events was that it be sponsored by TSC. That particular section is omitted. So now with the approval of the board or the TSC president, it can be allowed, alcohol can be allowed, even if it's not a TSC-sponsored event. That concludes my report. We're asking for a motion to approve those policies.
I move to approve the following policies: BBD, BBF, BBG, BBH, and GDA.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete,
Second?
second by Ms. Science. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. The board will now convene in executive session as provided by Government Code, Chapter 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.089. We're in executive session. Executive session, no action needs to be taken in executive session matters. The next board meeting dates, regular board meeting, March the 27th, and then April the 17th. We're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Camarillo, second by Ms. Aldrete. All's in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Stand adjourned. Thank you.